I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. And if you don't know, I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. And if you don't know, I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. It's all good. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. And if you don't know, I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. It's all good. Get paid, get paid. Blow up like I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm like you thought I would. And if you don't know, I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. And if you don't know, I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. It's all good. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. And if you don't know, I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. It's all good. Get paid, get paid. Blow up like I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm like you thought I would. And if you don't know, I'm blowing up like you thought.
Welcome back to the Republic of Arsenal. We're on the late shift again tonight, Dave. So we're going to crack away into this. I'm just going to get the intros done. So I'm here with Dave, out and out gunner. Dave, cheers for staying awake just to give me my fix of Arsenal for another night, Arsenal chat.
Yeah, look, as we always say, two of us are suckers for punishment all the time. So someone has to do the night shift, so we'll do it, and then there'll be someone else then the next night. Yeah, it'd be great to have a chat and get over the defeat. I haven't got on to or been on anything yet, so hopefully now I'll get my fix. And then if things get too bad, we can always give Farhan a ring and see what he's up to. He'll make sure we're okay.
100%. And yeah, look, I had you in mind because I did go live last night after the game. Had a fairly big panel on, and you weren't able to make it. So look, I couldn't rest easy another night knowing that you didn't get to rant about this Arteta formational disaster class, I'm going to call it. But we will crack away into that. Just before we do, I want to say big up to everybody who's in the chat. We have a couple of people here watching, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do.
Boom.
Also, do not forget to hit that like button. And yeah, look, Twitter handles down below. You can follow both of us. So big shout out. I'm literally just off of a channel. Big shout out to the guys over Cannon Chatter. We've got G in the house. Myself and G went head to head. We had a really good. We did a really good quiz. It was looking a bit ropey for a while. Stephen was throwing out the questions to us, and I thought it was going to be. I had described it as one of those. You know, when you have one of those penalty shootouts and both teams miss all 5 of their penalties. It just basically goes to whoever scores, the next goal is going to win. I thought it was going to be one of those nights. I think I was a little bit being the guest. I think he looked after me a little bit. I think G might be looking for VAR to get involved and review some of them questions. They were a little bit kind. Let's just put it that way. So big shout out G is here. Big shout out to Morris, GP Productions. Yeah, Morris, I'm looking forward to. I've seen the thumbnail for your recent interview. I'm definitely looking forward to checking that one out. If you know, you know. Big shout out to Lottie. Lottie's here as well. Yeah, we don't have Lottie running around the Emirates for us this time, but
no, there's a big camera today.
Yeah, that's it. So Lottie, you can chill. You can relax and just listen to us talk bollocks, basically. So yeah, big shout out to everybody. As I said, smash that like button. And Dave, look, we're going to get into this. So look, basically what we're going to do is, as I said, I know you need your fix of therapy, that Villarreal game. So we're going to talk on that Villarreal game. We're going to talk Newcastle. But first of all, a pretty important thing that I definitely think we have to mention is the online abuse campaign that's going on at the minute. And I know, look, people probably sitting here, and there's people sitting here online right now watching us, and we're currently streaming online. And again, this was put to me on Cannon Chatter by Stephen. You know, kind of asked my thoughts about it. I'm basically, I'll start off. I'll ask your feeling about it. You know, how much of an impact do you think this is going to have? This is like a 3-day online blackout, and I know Arsenal have got involved. Do you think this is going to make much of a difference? Do you think it's going to have the required impact, the impact that they're hoping it'll have?
I don't really, to be honest. Look, you can see kind of the thought behind it, and look, a gesture in a stand has to be made at some point. Look, unfortunately, I don't see it doing a whole pile. You know, the blackout. There's going to be people still on social media, but I suppose the point of it is because of the amount of abuse that's going on between racism, direct abuse at players, and threatening behaviour, threatening players' families, just the type of thing that's going on every day. As you see, like players, and you can see Ian Wright, even that. Did you see that clip of that interview with Alan Shearer he done? Like, it's
Yeah.
horrible to watch.
Yeah.
But just kind of seeing a man like having to go through that and every day, you know, waking up in the morning, looking at your phone, and you don't know what you're going to see, and you're half expecting to see some just abuse, purely
Yeah.
like waking up every morning having to imagine, like, you waking up out of bed in the morning, and there you look at your phone and you just have messages of just abuse, and after a game players can't go online if they lose because it's abuse. Look, it's a nice gesture. Look, as Marla says, look, it is a good stance, but unfortunately, I don't see it doing a whole pile as far as it goes. The impetus is on the social media companies to just do something to stop these accounts being made, and just put a stop to it once and for all. I remember seeing recently an account. It was literally just made within, obviously the same day, just a load of abuse and tweeting under something, and then the account was gone. Then a half an hour later, look, you can report it, but what's to stop that person from making? They're just going to go on, make another account, come back, do the same thing again. You even see it and here with people, and in the comments, you'd have someone commented in, they're going, you kick them off, and they're coming back on a new account a couple of minutes later, and they're like, oh, I remember I've been on a chat with someone, I don't think it was yours, but they're like, oh, you can't stop me because I have so many different accounts, so I'm just going to keep coming back spamming the chat and whatever. Like, so it's just, it has to be. I know people are saying, oh, you have people that kind of like being anonymous on social media, and they kind of find it a way to kind of express their feelings a little bit better. Look, I do get that side of it, but you can set up an account, you give your ID, but you don't actually have to give your name. Your ID is on file for security purposes, and then you could call yourself, look, as out and out gunner I am, you've Republic of Arsenal. You can call yourself Republic of Arsenal. No one's going to know that that's Anthony behind that account, you know. So there is ways of going about it. Look, as the clubs, and it's good that everyone got together and they're trying to do something, but unfortunately, it's not going to stop until the social media or our platforms decide, look, we have to put a stop to it. And unless you do maybe something with IP addresses, look, I'm not that high up tech savvy, or that maybe you could, if you don't want people or don't want to give secure or give your personal details or your identification or whatever, maybe put up some form of a block on that IP address, that when that IP address is linked to one account, that they can't make another or something like that. So yes, again, as I say, a good gesture, but no, unfortunately, it's not going to make a difference at the moment. That's just how it is.
I think everybody, I think we all kind of feel the same as Lottie says there. Like, definitely it's a good stance, but I don't feel anything is going to change until social media giants do something, which they won't. Like, verification for accounts needs to be brought in, and that's definitely that's exactly how I feel. I feel like, look, yeah, the awareness has to be raised, and it is a good gesture. But is it going to be enough? And again, this is something that myself, G, and Stephen only just spoke about an hour ago. And we sort of said, yeah, like, we're all in agreement. the idea is right, but for me, what it comes down to, it's education, and lack of education for these people who are the abusers, that are coming out and creating these accounts, and I feel like they can say whatever they want, and and it's happening. It's a lot of young people as well. Like a lot of young people. Like, I know the guy that abused Ian Wright was Irish, and he was only a young lad, wasn't he? And the reason why
Yeah, the
nothing
lad
could
from
be
Kerry.
done, yeah, because he was underage or something. Again, as I said, it comes down to education. Like, where are they learning this from? You know what I mean? Where is it coming from? And yeah, it's something bigger has to be done, because we can all disappear for 3 days, but you come back, and that person that was sending these messages and commenting and calling these names and whatever they were doing, they come back in 3 days' time. Their mindset hasn't changed. They've just
No,
not.
and they have the tweets drafted up, and they're just
Yeah,
going to fire it on, and then go, you can't hide, or I'm going to keep going until you go off completely, and all that kind of thing. The
yeah.
thing about with Ian Rice, he's getting abused because of his icon card on FIFA. Getting abused
Something
even
that
down to some.
he has
Really,
no control over.
it's
But
crazy.
again, look, something he has no control over. Again,
Oh,
like his race, his gender. It's the whole thing is just crazy. But look, I guess going back to it, is this going to have the required impact? I don't think so. Like, yeah, I get the idea. I get the idea behind it. It's not enough. It goes back to, again, something I spoke about. The Kudela guy for Slavia Prague, after racially abusing Glenn Kamara, and he gets a 10-game ban. And G made a great point, saying, like, it's when you start affecting someone's money, as in with the Super League, that's when action is taken, and that's when they want to get legal teams involved, and you want to bring it to court, and you want to stop players playing in tournaments, and you want to kick teams out of leagues. And you don't want to do that, though. When someone gets racially abused, you do a little investigation and go, okay, 10-game ban, sweep it under the carpet, it'll all die down. It's not enough. It's really, really not enough. And
personally, I thought Slavia Prague should have been kicked, or else I thought Arsenal, Man United, and Roma
yeah,
shouldn't, and whatever the teams were remaining. It was Man United and Roma. I
yeah,
don't think we should have continued on in the tournament and that way, and
yeah,
make a stand. As you say, it is money, so you have to hit them in the pocket,
yeah,
and that's what they've done. If Arsenal said, right, we're not playing on in this tournament because of what's happened, I'd have said, fair enough. I'm happy. I'm happy with the club to do that and go
yeah,
from there. Because you do. That's how you have to hit them in the pocket. UEFA's were saying, look at how much they were coming out because of the Super League. Just the panic that was going on in the couple of days with BT and Sky and UEFA and all these, because someone else came in and tried to threaten the apple cart. And then, look, the Super League is quashed now. I don't see what's UEFA gone back into their box again. And Sky and BT, they were all about the fans. And now look, they're not reducing subscriptions for fans to watch games, and they're look at their box and pay-per-views and everything. You have to buy. There's the Katie Taylor fight tomorrow night if you want to watch it. None of that is changing, and it's all for the fans. But I don't know. Look, I'm not subject to the abuse that goes on, but I don't know what your feelings on it. And I did what I know. Look, like racism and that has always been there, but do you find it's kind of in the last year or so it seems to be gone out of hand? I didn't think it was this bad, but look, again, as I say, I'm not subject to it, and maybe is it because it's been highlighted more now? It's probably coming up more, but I didn't think it was. Was it this bad all along with these accounts and everything like that?
I think it's just because social media has exploded, and I guess maybe the reason why it's a bit more in our face lately. Look, you could blame, I guess, the pandemic, maybe the fact that we're all sort of in our bubbles now. We're all online an awful lot more. I know me, obviously, doing this whole YouTube thing. Like I only started this back in December as a way to keep myself kind of sane
Yeah.
through all of this. So I've always been aware that the like cyberbullying and everything existed, but of course I only I only ever had a handful of comments. People saying bits and pieces as they do. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
But yeah, I think maybe why it's more in our face now is because we're all online now throughout this lockdown and that. I think now we're all noticing it so much more, but it's definitely always been there. And I
Yeah.
know we touched on the whole the racism aspect and that more so in football and that before we had a good chat about it. And I know again, look, it's quite difficult, I suppose, the pair of us talking
Mm.
about racism
Yeah.
and stuff, because we don't face it day to
No.
day. I've had little experiences, as I spoke about before. When I used to
Yeah.
work in the airport, and it's been you Irish this and you Irish that kind of a thing. But I guess like the part that I've said before that kind of hits home for me is from my point of view, again, it's not something I'm ever going to encounter for me, but for my daughter, because for people that I've said it to before, my daughter is mixed race,
Yeah.
so she has, there is a possibility in her life that she may be subjected to, certain
Mm.
comments, and certain things, and again, I think it comes down to education and what kids are being taught at home, what the kids are learning and that. But yeah, it's unfortunately, I don't think this movement and this stand that's been taken over the course of
Mm.
3 days is going to change anything, because like I said, I think people, even going back to Kudela at Slavia Prague, you give him a 10-game ban, but within that period of time where he's not on the football pitch, is he attending workshops? Is he being educated by anybody? Is he is he talking to people and getting their perspective on why what he said wasn't okay? And has he spoke to anyone that has been able to say, well, look, this is why this is so impactful,
Yeah.
or is he just sitting at home playing FIFA all day? Is he going to come back after 10 games and have the exact same mindset that got him into this trouble in the first place? And I think this is the problem with this, the idea, yeah, like I said, the idea of the gesture
Yeah.
is it's kind of it's a gesture, I think, more so than anything else. Yeah, look, these guys who were dickheads 3 days ago are going to be dickheads in 4 days' time, because they're not learning anything. They're just going, social media is a bit quiet, isn't it? And they'll go back to it. And yeah, the Ian Wright video, yeah, it was powerful. Like, it was,
Yeah.
watching that, like I said, even when Shearer said to Ian Wright, with that message he received that day, he's like, did you do anything about it? And he sort of said, well, I felt like, what's the point? And it shouldn't be like that, but
Mm.
it does make you wonder, what is the point? What are they going to do? Is any action going to be taken? Is the person going to learn? I really don't think it's gonna make much of a difference. If I'm being totally honest, I think so much more needs to be done. It's too easy to hide behind your phone. It's too easy to
Yeah.
hide behind your keyboard. And again, like you said, people like their online privacy, and I'm not expecting that everybody has to show their faces the way we do. Not everyone has to let their voices be heard the way we do. You can have an avatar, you can have everything. That's cool, but I think you need some kind of verification, so these social media outlets can identify who you are should you decide to, abuse your, your online status. Like, um, it's just been made far, far too easy for people, and if we make it too easy, I think this is the result we're gonna get.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, look, again, it's something that it has to be spoken about. So look, I'm glad we got to say a piece on it,
Yeah, and look,
and
just even to touch on it in at the end, and I know, I suppose we go back and didn't we have the Granite Xhaka incident there last under Emery, the game Crystal Palace. Like, I
yeah,
know they're saying what he done and everything like that. Look, a player probably shouldn't do that, but when you look at the abuse he was taking week in, week out, and the stuff that was being said to him, there comes to a point in time where if you're going to be continued to get goaded and bullied and everything like that, there comes to a breaking point. And look, that's what happened that day. So I know we were all outraged at the time, but when you sit back and look at it, that man shouldn't have had to take that abuse the way he did all that time, and that was bound to happen. It happened that game against Crystal Palace, but that could have happened any time. So I know we all criticize him, and he'll continue to be criticized and everything like that. And maybe what he done, he shouldn't have perhaps done, and went to the level he did. But if someone comes to a breaking point like that, and they're threatening his family and his young kids and young kid and everything like that,
yeah.
I don't know what I do. And that, being honest,
I would have done the exact same. I would have done the exact same. I would have said, you know what, I'm here trying my best. I'm wearing your crest on my heart, and I'm giving everything for it. And that's the level of abuse, to be wishing stuff on his daughter, his child, like,
yeah,
So, I'm yeah, I always say about that Xhaka incident. Yeah, look, there's a way you try to conduct yourself, especially, look, he's wearing the captain's armor. But at the end of the day, that's a human emotion, a human reaction. It's easy for us to say, yeah, he shouldn't have done that, but you put yourself in his shoes, and think of your own kid and that, and or kids or whatever, and yeah, you have 60,000 people booing and jeering, and then you're getting all this online abuse, and yeah, you're gonna flip as well, So yeah, look, we will move on, and we will talk Villarreal. I've had too much Villarreal talk lately, but
mm,
again, Dave, this is for you. This is for you because I like you. So we will give you a bit of Villarreal. So look,
are you sure it's really for me? But you don't want me to feel the pain that you're feeling.
a little bit.
We've no European Championships. We can't score a goal with Ireland, and you're dragging me down with you, I think.
I am. I'm taking you with me, Dave. I'm going down, and you are coming with me. Yeah, part of what I think is, we as Arsenal fans, we need our fair share of therapy. I got a nice bit of therapy with Stephen and G earlier. I did. So look, look, I'm always up for a bit of free Arsenal therapy, and again, if I can help you, I'm gonna do that because I'm here for you, man. I've got your back. So there you go. I'm gonna let you.
The
I'm gonna
floor is mine.
yeah, I'm gonna unleash you at that. And for anybody who's listening to this on Spotify and that, this is Arteta's lineup from the other night, which I still can't decipher. I still can't get my head around this. Maybe you could break it down and make some sense of what he was trying to do. And what was your feeling? Had this worked? Would people have been looking at that and saying, like, that was an Arteta masterclass? But we know it didn't. So for me, it was a fucking disaster class. But would they have been calling him a genius had that worked?
Oh, they would. You know the way they are on Twitter. You'd have the Arteta's in, it'd be waxing lyrical, and the outs would be saying he got lucky, and the show goes on. Then you have it'll be the same on Sunday. If we win the same next Thursday, they'll be calling him lucky. And if he wins the Europa League, he's lucky. There's no any managerial nous involved. That he's only getting lucky all the time. But if he's going to win tournaments getting lucky, I'm happy for him to continue to get lucky. But what I would say to that is, just the way the team is set up there, I don't think that's an actual true reflection of the way it was actually set up. Because you look at it, Smith Rowe
Yeah.
was false 9, and then you had Odegaard behind him. I think Odegaard, it was described as 2 number 10s by Mikel Arteta as well, and the 2 wingers. Sorry, Ant, I'll just have to stop.
Yeah, you work away there. You work away. Myself and Dave were talking about this beforehand. This is the risk when you do these late night streams. I have my kid is in bed at the moment. Thankfully, sound asleep for the minute, but as you can hear, the baby monitor's gone off. So Dave has run to tend to the baby. So yeah, as I said, it's one of those. We were only talking about this before we went live, and we said one of us is going to have to run at some point. So yeah, Dave is on the first one. So hopefully Dave will come back and join me again, and then I'll probably have to run. But yeah, in terms of that lineup, like Dave was saying, Pepe was listed as being the forward with Odegaard in behind, but as you can see, Smith Rowe ended up playing this false 9. It was all over the place. It really was all over the place. Yeah, daddy duties. It's one of those nights. I'll tell you, it's one of those nights. But yeah, like for me, as I said on a couple of streams, what he got wrong, first and foremost, Granit Xhaka left back. I can't get my head around why he's persistent with this. And everything that went on really made me consider, he's back, really made me consider Arteta and his mindset. And is it stubbornness that he's persistent with Granit Xhaka as a left back? Is he trying to prove a point that he can play left back and he can do a good job? It's like for the longest time when he had Willian playing, and everybody was saying, why is Willian playing? And he's persistent and he's persistent. But yeah, Dave, I was just saying there, this Granit Xhaka experiment, I was not expecting this to last longer than the Sheffield United game, but he seems to be persistent with it. Like, is he just determined to prove to us that this can work, or is Cedric really that bad an option?
I think you had to go Cedric, didn't you? I think because of I think the project went one game too far last week against Everton when he got skinned by Richarlison, and look, the Leno mistake is the Leno mistake, and that's its own story. But we knew if you could get someone up against Xhaka, then look, that's going to create its own problems. Look, Xhaka's doing a job for the team, and if the manager, if the manager and ask someone to play left back for me, I'm hoping they'll say yes, and then you take it as it is. But I think that needed to stop. We saw against Everton the bad side of it, and that was the time to scrap it again. But like when you look at the back four on paper, it's so bad. I remember sitting there I think it was after like 50 minutes or 60 minutes, and I was thinking, Chambers is right back, Holding as the captain centre back, Mari is centre back, and Xhaka is left back. And we're kind of sitting here thinking we should be higher up the table, and we need to win the Europa League to get into the Champions League. And I'm stopping and thinking, how is that an Arsenal back four? I don't want to be kind of a doomsday merchant, and it's late enough, so hopefully I'm not giving people nightmares, but that's so bad. It's just so bad. The Chambers thing, and I knew this would happen with Chambers. He had a good game against West Ham under the conditions that happened. I was just praying that it wouldn't continue, and it's continued. Why couldn't Cedric have played right back even, or why couldn't Bellerin have played right back? Look, Chambers can cross apparently, so that's why he's starting. But I don't know. yeah, look, as I was touching on the two number 10s or the false nine, but Mikel Arteta says in his interview, because we conceded so early, we didn't actually get to see um, the true effects of it. But that's that's his own fault and their own fault for how it was set up. He kind of got outdone by Emery, I think, in the first half,
Yeah,
more so. Look, because Xhaka was playing left back, I was like, look, Ceballos and Partey midfield, it kind of picks itself.
mm.
Saka obviously was going to start, and Odegaard, I thought it was going to be Odegaard and number 10, Smith Rowe left wing, and then Pepe as the striker. But I didn't actually think, like the way you have it was kind of, I thought if you were to swap Smith Rowe and Saka, that potentially is probably what I expected it
Yeah.
to be. But for some reason it wasn't. It was Smith Rowe false nine, and or as again as I say, the two number 10s, but
I
just
think what
all
it
wrong.
was is right. This was taken just before the game had kicked off from the website that I use, and I think this is how the lineup actually went out. But as you said, because we conceded so early, it never played out like
Mm,
that. It never actually worked out that way. But yeah, some of the decisions I still like. It's been 24 hours more after, and I'm still sitting here thinking to myself, what was he trying to do? Like, did you think he was setting up that side to maybe just contain the ball, just to stop Villarreal from getting any joy? Obviously, the plan was not to concede after 4 minutes, but like I felt like that team that was out there, it was just maybe we'll kind of overload the midfield, we'll keep possession, we'll hold onto the ball. No striker. I just felt as though he's obviously not, playing to. He's not on the attack here. I just felt keep ball, keep possession, and maybe later as the game drags on, we might introduce Martinelli and Aubameyang and that. But of course, 4 minutes in, when you can see like that, the game plan goes out the window. And then even at that point, I was sort of saying, we were 4 minutes in, we're one goal down. Who the hell on the pitch is going to score a goal for us now? Like we,
yeah.
we don't have a striker. And I know there are players in there, like you can say Bukayo Saka, Pepe, they are good for a goal. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like he played into Emery's hands, and I've seen a few people say that Emery outclassed him, and Emery showed his experience, and Emery outdid
Mm,
Arteta in the first half. But I think a lot of it has to be attributed to the fact that Arteta gave him that. Like, you're looking at that lineup and you're going, like, with all due respect, I think I could have put out a Villarreal team that could have got a bit of joy against that Arsenal lineup in the first half. Like, if I know Granit Xhaka is playing left back, what am I going to do? Obviously, we're going to run down the left hand side, or we're going to attack that. Um, and that's exactly what they did. Like Emery, looking at that lineup outside of who Pablo Mari and Odegaard and Partey, that is basically that's basically an Unai Emery team.
mm,
Unai Emery knows their strengths and their weaknesses, and he'd have known, Granit Xhaka left back. It was just you might as well have had a flashing light over him, a flashing sign,
yeah.
and they exposed him. And as you said, he got found out against Richarlison. Looking at the guys they have in front there, like Moreno, Paco, and Chukwueze, like I'm surprised we kept it to 2 goals. And I guess, look, this is, I suppose, a criticism I guess I have of Unai Emery when people are saying that this was an Emery masterclass. I think we saw the Unai Emery of Arsenal and the guy that we all called for to be replaced as Arsenal manager. I know there was an injury involved, but when he made a halftime substitution, as he was famous for at Arsenal, I cannot understand why he brought on a defensive player.
I
And
was
this
saying.
Yeah, he completely allowed us back into that game by doing that completely. And it was Coquelin, wasn't it, that he brought on?
Yeah,
So even better again, even better again that it was Francis Coquelin. But I think this is, I've seen people as well saying, oh, look, this is why we shouldn't have let Emery go. This is why, all this. And I'm kind of going, well, I think Emery showed us at halftime exactly why we got rid of him.
yeah.
Because I think Unai Emery contributed to us getting back into the game. Because even at 10 men, we nearly nicked an equaliser right at the end. I know they had a man sent off, but you know, Emery, I feel like Emery kind of let us back into that game because he went a bit too cautious. He sat
I
back,
think,
put on.
yeah, I just think he overthought it. Like, I think both
Yeah,
managers probably in the end overthought kind of what they were doing, to be honest.
yeah, 100%. And that's my worry about Arteta. I've seen this too many times now that he's overthinking, and I talk quite a lot on different shows about this Arsenal squad and the intelligence levels in the squad. We've a lot of very talented players, but is the message being received? And this was something I asked the other day when I had Jamie, who was the Villarreal fan, and I'd asked him, comparisons between Arteta and Emery, and maybe why it didn't work for Emery at Arsenal was because maybe the squad of players couldn't get to grips with what Emery was asking them to do. I know there was communication problems, there was a bit of a language barrier. They didn't seem to understand what exactly he wanted them to do. And I feel like the only difference between now Arteta and Emery is Arteta can articulate it in better English, but do they still not understand, or are they just still not capable? Are these kind of managers over tactical for the intelligence levels of the squad of players we currently have? Like, I've said it for the longest time with the likes of Pepe, stick him out on the left hand side, let him play as a direct winger instead of asking him to do all these jobs on the right hand side. And I think we saw a benefit to when you have him out wide left. Maybe I'm overthinking this, Dave, but what do you think? Like, a lot of this squad, maybe if we played a bit more basic football, it might not look as pretty, when it's clicking for us, but you ask them to do the basics, maybe we'll see better results.
Maybe, but I just don't think this squad is capable of the basics either, to be honest. I just don't. Look, people would say another manager wouldn't be in this position, but I think, look, there is different tactics you have to set up for different games. So I think he just complicated and played a whole new system that he probably shouldn't have played. Look, I think with Arteta is if he gets it wrong on one game, he kind of knows, and he'll fix it for the next game. Where we saw with the Southampton game, and he knew kind of what he did wrong, and then he'll go and he'll fix it again. So I think that might be a case again for next Thursday. But I just, yeah, like, we set up in a way I didn't get the press that we were putting on. It seemed to be like we were half pressing, and then some were pressing and some weren't. I don't know. Look, it could be something that did people not know their jobs. It could be a part of that, but they were kind of they kind of were, after 5 minutes they were like, right, this is what they're doing, and we'll play through that now. Like, you look at the right back, that lad on loan from Spurs, he looked unbelievable. He was beating fellas for pace. He was running.
Yeah.
He was running lengths of the field, and he set up for the first goal, and he ended up pulling his hamstring because he was going on another big run. Did no one up against Raúl Albiol, and the man can't move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he's ready for a Zimmer frame. He's gone. He's played that much football, and I'd say he couldn't believe his eyes when he'd no one up against him. You look at it even down to even amateur soccer that I'd look at every weekend. If you have two centre backs and they've no one to mark, they're happy out.
Yeah.
They can look like Ramos or Van Dijk when they've no one to mark. They've time. They'll play the passes, and then I think what happened is our press then is Pepe was actually pressing on, and then he was pressing on to the centre half, but he was gone so infield that they were just finding one fight in acres of space. He was coming up against Ceballos. Ceballos is pulled out, so then your midfield is pulled out. He was beating Ceballos for pace. Did you see? I didn't realize Ceballos was that slow. To be honest, he
Yeah,
was beating him
if
for
he went
pace.
any slower, he'd be going backwards.
It actually
He's
didn't look like he
just
was moving at one stage. He was
yeah,
White was beating him for pace. They were doing the same the other side. Our wingers were getting so inverted in, they were just playing it to the wide men. They were playing
yeah,
passes at times, and like their wide players, their fullbacks were so wide. I was like, "Oh, that's gone out for a throw." But then, I don't know about that. But no, so their fullbacks were so wide as well that they were just they had us pulled all over the field. And then I think it was when Emery made the substitution, they lost that extra forward, and then they
yeah,
set off again, and then the fullbacks weren't going back or weren't going as high and wide as they were. Absolutely played into our hands. Um, Me, you, anyone in the chat box, anyone that has any idea of the game of football, how did Ceballos continue on?
oh God,
Arteta's excuse was Martinelli wasn't ready. I think there was 15 minutes between that foul early in the second half, which he
yeah,
never should have got. The ref done him a huge favour. He never should have got off with that.
mm,
And his second yellow, and Ceballos still. Ceballos for me would have been off at half time
yeah,
purely, and that's not even the yellow, just purely down to performance.
yeah,
Then he had the yellow. We were like, right, now is it's time to go. Continued on, got the second yellow. And look, I know people have their arguments with the yellow. If in Europe, if a player catches another fella kind of like in that stamp of motion onto the ankle, as much as accidental it is, the
yeah,
decisions in Europe are different to what you'd see in the Premier League. That in
mm,
Europe is a yellow card to me, and
yeah,
I'd no complaints about it. Look, I think I think you had it up, did you? And there was a few kind of debates and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I think in Europe you kind of have to have more of an open mind. Their decisions are different to how they are in the Premier League. So when a ref in Europe sees that kind of a clean contact, they're always going to give a yellow. And the ref had it in the back of his mind as well that
yeah.
I'm after leaving him off with one here. The next thing he does, he's gone, and
Yeah,
then
he had
maybe
a
that
few.
came into
He
it.
had a few chances, didn't he? Yeah, look,
But
I felt a bit kind of. He was a little bit unlucky. The kind of that surface we've seen a few people slip, but
mm,
yeah, I wasn't terribly disappointed. I definitely wasn't sad to see him go off. I think I'm about to be called for daddy duties, so typical. This will happen.
typical.
But where is he
All
now?
was professional, isn't it?
Think we're all right. Oh
Yes.
God. But yeah, look, what did you make of the? We've talked about the red card, but what did you make of the penalty that we got with Kyle Saka?
He threw the leg, didn't he, and just waited for the contact and went down. Look, he
Yeah,
was the only one. He was again. I know Pepe played well in that, but the man most likely was Saka again. He directly contributed to the red card, and
yeah,
he won the penalty. We'll say. He went in, look, he threw out the leg, generated the contact, and then goes down in penalty again. In Europe, they're probably more sticklier for that, and if they see contact, they'll give a penalty. How did they check it though and not cop what happened? Like I just don't know. When they were checking it, I was just thinking like they're oh no, they're going to see it now and that's
yeah.
it.
This is gonna be scratched off,
Yeah,
definitely.
but
Yeah,
no, look, you go and you have to make your own. Look for Saka didn't get one against Leeds as well the time, so we have to think of that as well. So it maybe they say when it evens itself out, maybe it did in that case. But as well as that, and for the Albiol goal, we got done from that corner as well. When you review it, they whipped in the ball. The I don't know the names, but one man ended up blocking. I think it was either Hold. One of them put the block on Holden and Chambers. The man in front won the flick on. Man peeled around the back and tapped it in. Party lost him, but look, from a flick on in that situation, it is hard to stay with the man, But he should look, a professional footballer probably shouldn't lose him. But the initial thing is we got caught with a blocker as well. They won the flick on and tapped it in. So that was after training ground. So you'll say, look, disappointing for us, such a cheap goal to give away. But Emery liked that one as well. He's obviously saw
Yeah,
something there as well that he could exploit. And I suppose the thing is, we haven't been too bad from defensive set pieces all season. We
yeah,
for
we've
all
been
the
okay.
slating that
Yeah,
we do and all, we don't really give away too many from them. Like, so that probably came
mm,
as a little bit of a surprise to Arteta as well. But look, we had the penalty showed as well. We had in the first half as well. Look, Pepe was unlucky with the handball. The ball came over his head. You kind of can't control your hand in that situation. So look, while it was a free out. It was a little bit unlucky as well. So we'll take that as well. What about Capu? Then he needed to get stretchered off, even to try and avoid the yellow. I was saying that there was nothing
mm.
wrong with him. I think it came out today that he's fully fine as well, didn't it? So
Oh,
look,
really? Yeah.
everyone. Yeah, I'm nearly certain I seen it somewhere that
I
he'd
thought I thought he
no
was
injury
playing it
for.
up a little bit. I thought he played it up because sometimes the players know they're like, "Oh, I'm in trouble here. Let's just act like it's an
Yeah.
impact injury or it was accidental." That, and then of course I seen him being he lay there and he lay there. I was like, he's really milking this. And then of
Hmm.
course the stretcher came out and I said, oh, "Okay, look, I'll let him away with it, right?" Yeah, but look, I don't think he could have no argument.
No, he was
He'd have
gone.
no,
He
no.
was Saka.
Yeah,
Saka beat him. He should never have went into that tackle anyway. When you're
yeah,
on a yellow, look similar to Tobias as well. When you're on a yellow, your game has to change and you have to adapt your
yeah,
game to that situation where if you're putting in a leg and you're dangling a leg, you have to be prepared to pay the price, and that's what both
yeah,
players did. But we set off then, I think, when we got the yellow and or when they went to 10 and we had got the equaliser. I think the last 10 minutes we kind of said, right, look, we'll take this. I know. Look, he did bring on Aubameyang in the last 5 minutes, and that was like, right, look, if we do break, at least we have a bit of pace forward, and when we might
yeah.
generate a chance from it. But we did seem to, we kind of, I felt we set off and just were like, right, look, we know. We could have lasted tonight, but we haven't. So we'll take the kind of the consolation and get out of town and regroup for next week. I felt there was a little bit of that, and
Mm.
Jack actually did well the last 10 minutes as well. When you think of it, they loaded the ball to Chukwueze as well. I
Yeah,
felt like the game for the last 10 minutes was Chukwueze running at Xhaka. Look, but the damage was done early on, and
yeah.
that's what you get from it. Just because he might have done well the last 10 minutes, it's the damage is already done. Maybe the little bit more protection with Martinelli there as well that might have helped as well, but. Um, I don't ever like false nines, though. I just don't. I'm kind of traditional. Maybe it's the Irish in us, and we're used to kind of that big, bulky, that fella that'll put
If
himself
Niall
about.
Quinn up front.
Yeah, the fella that'll put himself about up front. But I always like a focal point up front. I just
Yeah,
think you miss a lot from it when you don't have it. And then I
yeah,
just when you think of it, with three strikers on the bench with Martinelli, Aubameyang, and even Eddie Nketiah,
Nketiah, yeah.
we'd Balogun that wasn't involved. So we played a false nine when we did actually have choices of playing a striker. So that I didn't like as well. But the one good thing from it as well is I see the news that Fabrizio Romano had out that Tobias more than likely won't or isn't going to be with us next season. So that's a good bit of news in the last 24 hours, that's for sure. But
If
no, look,
if
next
if
week will
that
be different.
was if that was common knowledge to Arteta, that Ceballos, look, he's obviously made the decision that he doesn't rate Ceballos enough. That he's going to make the investment for him in the summer. Why persist with him, and why, like, what does that tell you about the other options, like the likes of El Neni? Does that mean he's out the door as well? Because if you know that you're not willing to invest in this guy because he's not good enough, but then your other option isn't getting in the team either. But then there's talk of offering El Neni a new contract. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, the way we're operating, it makes absolutely no sense. I can't get my head around it.
But
Like,
you know what I don't get as well is he knows Ceballos isn't staying. Ceballos came out recently and said, "Oh, I think my game is more suited to La Liga," and Ceballos isn't staying. And look, he doesn't want to stay, but he's
Yeah,
continued to play him. But he didn't play Balogun or even give him a chance or in the last 3 months
yeah,
because he wasn't signing a new contract. But Ceballos isn't going staying and kind of publicly said, "Look, this isn't for me," and
yeah.
he isn't staying. Why are we giving him time? Look, I know then you could say maybe you could play El Neni, or is it maybe in the league? Do you give Miguel Aziz the chance now to give him Ceballos minutes now and say, look, here's your chance for the rest of the season. You stake your claim for
Yeah.
next season.
It makes more sense. Like I cannot see the sense in persisting with Danny Ceballos when there's nothing else to play for in terms of the Premier League. Anyway, you know, yeah, as Russ said there, why is it taking 2 years to
Absolutely,
judge Ceballos?
absolutely.
I said this last season. I said I would rather we didn't hang on to Danny Ceballos. I
Mm,
think, unfortunately, he came to form late last season, and then we went on our FA Cup run and we won it. And of course, everyone in the squad was brilliant, you know. So yeah, we'll take him again. We'll hang on to him. But yeah, I've never been sold on Danny Ceballos, and
no, he's
look,
like a human fidget spinner, isn't he? Like the way he's gone, he's doing 360s and everything like that. I just never ever got him. I said it early on that Real Betis or that's his level, and look,
yeah, he's not going back
it's
to Real
going to
Madrid anyway. There's no
no.
way. He's not a Real Madrid player. He'll go back to Real to play in the Castilla maybe. That's about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know. But yeah, look, the options aren't great. There's so much improvement needed, and this is why I guess I was a bit sympathetic of Granit Xhaka, because for the people who were slating Granit Xhaka, I was saying all along, it's like, yeah, we can 100% upgrade on what Granit Xhaka does in
Mm.
midfield, but in terms of options we currently have, like you want to use El Neni or Ceballos instead. Ceballos has shown me time and time again when he's got his chance that Granit Xhaka is definitely 100% a better option than him. It just no. I'm sorry, Danny. No, has to. I'm quite happy with that news that broke today that we're not going to keep him, because
Mm.
that's 20 million that could be vital for us, because I'm not expecting us to have an awful lot of money to spend. Even though the Cronkies are feeding us all this bullshit about investing in the squad, I believe it when I see it. So yeah, every penny could count for us. So yeah, we cannot be squandering money on guys like Ceballos. Not good
No,
enough.
not wasting that. Our first team isn't good enough for you to go and buy squad players. So look,
No.
no, that's not it. Just another thing as well on the team as well. I know I touched on already. Like the Chambers and Holding that side of the defense. Like no wonder we're tenth.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
like Holding. Look, he's a likable fella, and again, if you could have him as a fourth or fifth choice centre back, but he's captain in a European semi final, and we're expecting to be getting the Champions League. I just don't
Yeah.
get it. Like how, like you look at the team last night. It's Chambers, Holding, Jack as left back, Ceballos midfield. That's four of your team already. That you're like, right, that doesn't look right to me. Sympathy for Smith Rowe. Look, he was put out. He was put out to do a job, and I think he tried his hardest, and him and Saka,
Yeah.
look, even if they don't play well, at least you're getting 100%. But I wouldn't slate Smith Rowe on last night anyway, if I was to slate him at all, to be honest. But no, look, as the boys were saying there, it's a big summer
Oh,
ahead anyway.
massive.
That's for sure. Look,
Yeah.
there them conversations will be had, but no, it is a big summer, of course.
Yeah, you know what though? I do look at this Arsenal team, and I even look at our strongest 11. If you put our strongest 11 you can put in there, and I'm still convinced that wouldn't even be the B team to the Invincibles. You know, I'm looking at the squads we've had in the past, and I'm going, not one of those players would even get on the bench. Like Aubameyang probably wouldn't even get on the bench in the Invincibles team, and I do love, Bukayo Saka and Smith Rowe, but the what I use as the kind of levels that we've dropped is, you look at Bukayo Saka and Emile Smith Rowe. Like, do you believe those guys would have challenged in that Invincibles team? You put them in against the likes of like a young Van Persie and a young Fabregas who are coming through. even a young Gael Clichy, who was rivaling Ashley Cole at the time. Would Saka and Smith Rowe be on the level of those guys? And they are very, very good players, very high ceiling, high potential. But I don't know. I don't know if they're in that kind of a caliber. Maybe Saka.
Maybe Saka would make a bench, perhaps,
Maybe,
when then
yeah.
there's the potential to go on and become a starter. But
But you know what, though, in fairness, right, I'm going to contradict myself here as well. At the same time, I'm also going to contradict myself, because I believe that for these young players coming up, if you have players like those Invincibles around them, it's going to up your game and it's going to make you better as well. So I guess I'll throw that in there also. You're in around these, and we spoke about this before, you're in around these players who are constantly making mistakes, making errors. Like Granit Xhaka, he makes the same errors. David Luiz makes errors. You name it in the squad, they've all got errors in their games, and this is what the youngsters are. They're around and they're learning this on the training ground, and they're picking up these bad habits and traits, and but that's another debate altogether. But look, got the away goal in the end, so the tie isn't over. I'm gonna run and close that door just in case the little one tries to wake up again. So just before I leg it, I'll be 2 seconds. But just before I run away, I'm just gonna ask you, what do you feel? Do you think, did you see enough from Villarreal to convince you that they're going to come at us at the Emirates and they're going to put this tie to bed, or did you see something there that we can work on, and can we do it? And do you trust Arteta? Do you trust him to be able to put out the right side, the right setup to get through this tie?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't to make the same. I don't think he's the type of fella that would make the same mistakes twice, as we saw in the Southampton game, with the FA Cup game. Look, you could say he threw that game, but not necessarily. Look, they beat us with making changes that we need to make. But I think he learned from what's. He seems to learn from his mistakes, and he'll move it on and take it into the second leg. Do I see him? The Villarreal, they're okay. Look, they're 7th in Spain, and they're nothing major. Like the lad up front, Gerard Moreno, he's 26 goals this season. We're looking for a striker. We don't.
Banging
I
goals.
wouldn't be looking too far from Gerard Moreno. He could be one definitely to look out for in the summer. He'll probably start for Spain in the Euros as well. So the thing is, his value will probably go up from that as well. So there is that side as well. No, look, they can be got at. Their defense can be got at. Their back four doesn't look the greatest in the world, and when they're bringing lads like Alberto Moreno on and Coquelin on and that kind of thing, the depth isn't there with him.
But you know what? That makes me even more frustrated at the fact that he didn't play a striker. Because we knew how good they were going forward, and we knew they are potentially quite frail at the back. Like as you said, that Foyt guy, he's a centre back playing right back.
And he was looking unbelievable. Just like I just didn't, the pace of him and all that. Look, if we had settled down and we ended up getting Pepe up against him, we would have. Look, I think he would have put him onto us. But no, there isn't a whole pile that I would say. Look, they'll be missing Capu, so I think it'll be Coquelin will probably start with Parejo, and whether they'll probably put Mario Gaspar right back, I think it was, that came on, and then they'll have probably the same centre half partnership. But I know they rave about that Pau Torres and everything. But look, he had an easy night as well. We couldn't.
Exactly.
I know he's touted around Europe and all the big teams looking at him, but put a striker up against him and let's see what he's about. Left back, they can be got at that left back. As Saka, when we got Saka at him, look, he ended up winning the penalty, and if Alberto Moreno's coming on, then look, that tells you enough about him. The only thing is if they get a chance, they'll be dangerous on the break. Is the problem. If they get a chance in, look, I know Moreno missed the chance as well, but that was a super save by Leno. But if you give the three boys up front chances they will put that ball in the back of the net. There's no mistake about it. And look, it's just, I suppose, get the team selection right, put a centre forward up against them, have Saka and Pepe on the wings if you don't
Yeah.
want to start Martinelli. Um, Tierney hopefully should be back. If you say he was in contention last night, I wouldn't play him tomorrow or Sunday rather.
Yeah, keep him.
Keep him,
Keep
and
him. Yeah.
we'll play him Thursday night, and then our team should be a lot better as well as from what it was last night as well. So
Yeah.
we've seen the best of them, I think.
What does it tell you about, um, I guess, the future of Martinelli when you don't even play a striker? You can't even get into contention to play. Like, I was thinking the only way this guy is getting on the pitch is to change his surname to Shaq and Nelly. It's literally the only way I can see him getting in that team. But like, whatever about Eddie Nketiah, like we spoke about him before, and I think we sort of know that the future
Hmm.
is not going to be at Arsenal for Eddie Nketiah. But I'm getting more concerned about Martinelli, that he can't even get into that side, because we know he can play up top. I know he's not naturally a striker, but he can play there. And we did hear talk not long ago that he was training to be a striker, and that's what they were working on in training. So he can't even get in there. Okay, he didn't trust Nketiah to do the job, and he didn't feel Aubameyang was 100% fit. Surely Martinelli's got to be fit at this stage.
Yeah,
We know he was easing them back in, but he's had a couple of runouts now. But are you concerned for Martinelli?
just a small bit because he just doesn't seem to be getting game. Even last week against Everton, Martinelli, he didn't start. He played Nketiah when he could have been played Martinelli even from that game, and you're kind of thinking, if he's not playing him against Everton, he's not going to play him against Villarreal. And then um, we thought, look, maybe there's a week in training. But you see, there's lads saying, like Leno was saying, he's training like he's the best player in training, and there's fellas saying the talent that he's shown in training and the attitude and everything like that. And then Arteta mentions about these non-negotiables, and then it doesn't seem to be happening with Martinelli for some reason. He just doesn't trust him. Look, you say there's some players for some managers, but the thing is, there's a lot of players that are turning out that they're not for the manager as well. And you look at the likes of Joe Willock and Maitland Niles out on loan, they're doing well out on loan. Guendouzi's out on loan. Martinelli doesn't seem to be getting a kick. Nelson just seems to be gone by the wayside when he was kind of the one that had the most promise about him. He can't seem to get a kick. We didn't loan him for some reason. Then Ketia, he's gone out the door. These are kind of all the youngsters that we had talked about going, oh, these are the next generation kind of to bring us back up. They'll be big parts of the future and all that. None of them are even playing. I know Sack and Smith Rowe are the only ones because
Yeah,
you've
they're
no
the
other
only.
choice and play those.
Yeah.
But Martinelli,
I
it's
think
time we play.
Saka especially, and even Smith Rowe, I guess, to be fair, when he got his run, he made it impossible to be taken out of the team. And yeah, it just feels like with Martinelli, look, he hasn't overly impressed. He's looked okay. He's done his thing. He's done what he does. He comes on, bags of energy. He's gonna run all night for you. He's had some moments. He's had some nice moments, but it just feels like unless he's coming on and he's literally making himself undroppable, Arteta's finding a way to drop him. You know,
But then, and we were in trouble last night, and who he turns so. Look, oh, Martinelli, I need something, and then he
yeah,
looks to Martinelli to bail him out. Look, whereas if we were winning 1-0, Martinelli was never coming on the field.
yeah, it would have
Let's
been
be
William.
honest. Yeah, let's be honest. He would never have been coming on. So it's kind of looking, oh, I'm not. He's not good enough for him all along. But then he decides he needs to be bailed out. Martinelli straight on, threw him on against Everton. I think he came on after we conceded against Everton, if I'm not mistaken. There again, look, oh, come on and save me. He had a good game against Sheffield United the night, and he came on for like 5 or 10 minutes in the end in the game against Slavia Prague at 4-0. Look,
Hmm.
that the game has ran its race. Our players are kind of finished up for the night, and they are finished up. They made all the changes looking towards the league game, so it's hard to do anything there. Then we moved on to the game against Everton. Didn't start. He started in Ketty up front. Look, I like Eddie. He's just not good enough. Look, he's a nice fella.
Yeah.
I can imagine he seems to be okay. He'll go on and hopefully he has a good career
Yeah.
at somewhere else. But
Elsewhere.
yeah, but look, he's not the answer for us. But then again, we were what 2-0 down, and then it's like, oh, we're in trouble now. Look, Martinelli warm up. So like, you can't always kind of consistently do that where I need you to bail me out. So will you bail me out? Because I know, like, when you look at the players, are kind of thinking after a while they're going to get to the stage where, like, right, when things are going good, there's no sign of me. But then as soon as you need as soon as you need me to bail you out, I'm on. I don't
Yeah.
know. Then you kind of look at the likes of, again, the boys on loan, and we're looking at Tobias midfield, but Maitland-Niles couldn't get that chance midfield. Willock couldn't get that chance midfield. But we're going to continue on with Tobias, and then
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, a man as well that I want to touch on as well as Odegaard. Good player, good talent, whatever. But no, I wouldn't be signing him. I just
Not
don't think.
convinced, no.
I don't think he contributes enough. I just think he's nice and tidy. And I asked would he had goals this game. Look, he did. He scored one or two, but again last night didn't show up really. He didn't. I think it was the home game against Slavia Prague. Again, he just no. I don't know. We don't have goals from midfield, and he's another one of the same where he's nice and tidy, but we
Yeah.
need goals from midfield. I really like my main man for the summer is the lad from Sporting Lisbon, Pedro Goncalves.
Yeah.
He's doing similar to what Bruno Fernandes was doing for Lisbon. So get him in, get us the new Bruno in, get someone that's going to
Exactly what we
contribute.
need. Yeah.
We need goals from midfield. You look at it with Man City, you look at it with Man United. Liverpool are an exception to that rule, but they get 25 to 30 goals after two wingers, so they
Yeah.
can afford not to have goal scorers from midfield. But yeah, look, Odegaard, why he's tidy in that. No, I think the money for him now as well is going to go too high when you think of it. The whole Super League, Florentino Perez isn't going to. I think he was doing one out of the pay playbook the other night, wasn't or last night, and it just didn't work out. But look, as
That's
even the
it,
lads are
exactly.
saying there, Tobias and Odegaard. Look, I think people are
Yeah.
kind of starting to think the same with Odegaard, where he's nice, tidy, good technical footballer. I just don't think he's going to be the answer either. When you think of it, where again Willock could be getting those minutes where Odegaard is there, and he's out scoring goals for Newcastle, and Odegaard's kind of tipping about with us and taking actually minutes from Smith Rowe in number 10 as well. So I don't know.
Yeah. Did last night kind of give you any, I guess, what way to put it? For me, from my perspective, right, you know kind of my feelings on Arteta, and I think anyone that's familiar with the channel and has listened to me knows my feelings. As I've always stressed, I've never been like Arteta in, but I've been very, very sympathetic of the job at hand, the task. I can go into detail, but I've been through it all before. The lack of tools available, the job he has, the expectation, the squad, all that. For me, last night, I'm not going to lie, alarm bells are ringing a little bit.
I saw the tweet.
The alarm bells have started ringing. Look, it's one of them that I did say to people, mistakes are going to be made. He is still learning, and of course I've afforded him the time to learn and that. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of concerns last night with a lot of things that went on, and I've had concerns for the last couple of weeks especially.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just want to kind of gauge where you are now with Arteta. Like, are you feeling like let's take the whole fact that he's potentially, look, he could still salvage this and he could still finish the season with a European trophy.
Yeah.
And it would be an amazing contribution. But have you seen enough signs from him, and are you seeing kind of traits that you're sort of saying to yourself, irrespective if he wins this trophy, is he the guy you want there? Because I'm not going to lie, I think he's going to frustrate the hell out of me if he remains Arsenal manager for the next couple of years, and I just know he will.
It's hard. Like there was times I was thinking last night, kind of really. I think a lot of people were kind of nearly thrown over the edge, I suppose, with regards to what was going on, and they were like, right, this is our biggest game of the season, and he's got it all wrong again. Like this isn't his first time getting it all wrong, as we said. So, um, look, it's worrying. There was a time and a stage I was kind of like, right, we can see what he's doing, and you could see that. But lately, I think we've only like won our last 3 out of our last 9 or something like that, and one of those was against Sheffield United. So they're basically a championship team. So like, do you even count that really? No. Yeah, it is. It's worrying signs. And then like the board have a big decision to make, because if he gets Champions League, you're going right. We're in the Champions League. Do we give him? Do we
Yeah.
stick with this? Because you could say, look, oh, we're lucky to get there, and we had
Oh
just
yeah, of
another Group
course.
Cup run.
Yeah.
But then, if we don't get Champions League, the board have to ask themselves, we need a big summer. We're going to
Yeah.
have to spend money. Are we going to give this man the funds that he needs to build a team when
Yeah.
there's doubts, there's fans are kind of calling for him out? He's kind of seemed, a lot of people have kind of turned from last night. Do you go and give him? Look, I'm not saying the Crankies will do this, but do you give him 200 million to spend in the summer and say, right, go out and build your own team?
Yeah.
Because
Do
let's
you
face it,
trust him to spend it wisely?
I don't trust the whole thing, the whole regime to spend it wisely, to be honest. And like, if you're looking at the players we're throwing out for the players that he's keeping, do you give him 200
Exactly.
million to continue to do what he's doing, and have players like Ceballos and El Neni and Willian, and Nelson isn't getting games, Maitland-Niles isn't getting games, Willock isn't getting games, we
Yeah.
loaned Guendouzi. Like, do you trust? Like, we're set. We're going. If you look at it in the transfer window, a lot of our funds is going to come from selling those players. Do
Yeah.
you are those players really that bad, or do you go right? We'll sell these players for you, and you can use that money to spend it in the summer, for to come at Christmas time, continue to be 10th or 11th, and go, look, the P45 is ready. Look, this isn't working out. We're going to have to let you go. Then you're in a situation where he sold 3 or 4 of the youngsters kind of that the club was kind of pinning their hopes on.
Yeah.
You've 3 or 4 players that are brought in for what Arteta wants to do, and you're 10th. So, like, again, you're just kind of a continuous cycle. But on the other hand, you could say, right, that means you need to give him time, and we can't continue to sack managers. But
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
we can't continue on with what's going on. Like, it's just like it's a catch-22, and I don't trust the board to make the right decisions either. Do you trust the board to say, right, we're going to make the right decision here, or this is it for you, Arteta, and we'll bring, who are they going to bring in? Like, it's again, it's just, I think no one in the fan base has any trust for anyone in the club to make the right decision.
Yeah. That's the problem. Yeah, that's kind of something that I was asked earlier as well. Look, I guess just to stress the point, I'm concerned. Seeing a few things that have got me thinking, got me worried. Let's be honest. But I'm not calling for him to be removed from the job. And even if we lose against Villarreal and we get knocked out, I'm still very much of the mindset of I've accepted he is going to be there next season regardless. So I don't think whether I wanted him in or out, I don't think there's any point in me. I'm only going to stress myself out. If I decide
Yeah,
I'm Arteta out, he's going to be there regardless. So if he's going to be there, I'm going to get behind him as best I can. Um, but yeah, I think last night kind of highlighted a few things for me that
yeah,
maybe had we a more experienced coach, he would have approached that very, very differently. And I know, like I said, you can make all the excuses for him. He's had a hard time, COVID, and it's been stop start, and there's 100 different excuses you could make for him as to why this is like the toughest probably start to managerial life a guy could possibly have. But at the same time, I think I reached the point where I sort of said, you know what, yeah, I feel for him. He's had all sorts, but how long do you sympathise with a guy, and how long do you sit back and say, well, look, you're not doing a great job, but in fairness, you've had it tough. Like, you do have to get to a point, I think, where you have to be ruthless and you say, look, yeah, in fairness, you've had a hard time, but look, it still hasn't worked out, and we've got to explore something else, because at the end of the day, the club is on the downward spiral now, and we are going to suffer. And if we sit around and be nice and we make allowances for you and we make excuses and we allow you more time, it's potentially just going to keep getting out of hand and potentially going to keep getting worse. He's quite unlucky, Arteta, in a lot of senses, but yeah, I'm starting to see a lot of things in a different light now, and I'm sort of saying to myself, he's contributing a lot on the pitch to maybe a lot of his own luck. So yeah,
but I think like when you look at it as well, he's so stubborn as well. That's his worst trait, and that's what's going to be his downfall ultimately. But what I would say is, you see, the real winner from last night is Stan Kroenke, because how many Kroenke outs and protest posts have you seen today? So Stan Kroenke's sitting back. It's kind of the heat is all on Arteta out now, and Kroenke's kind of taking the back seat. He's probably loving this in a weird way, going, the heat is off me now.
What, actually, in terms of the protest that was planned, I'd seen people saying, we shouldn't be protesting for the home fixture because it'll distract the team and it'll take away, and it's the biggest fixture. I can see it now being an excuse for people to say, now we definitely can't. Like, whatever about had we come out at 3-0 up, and you could go, right, well, maybe we can afford to do something. But now people are going to go, well, we got the away goal and we have an opportunity to get through. And the protest, I cannot see the protest going ahead.
No.
And yeah,
and if
like
it
you
doesn't
said,
go ahead, then it's not going to go ahead going forward.
yeah,
I don't think.
it
I
just
think if you
it
break
lets
it
Kroenke
once,
off the hook again.
if you break it once, I don't. Unfortunately, look, it isn't going to go ahead again. And the other side of it, Ant, is as well is with the Daniel Ek. The Daniel Ek situation is, if there's going to be talks and he puts in the bid for the club and there's talks of selling the club and everything like that. I don't know that I mentioned this with you the last time I was on or whatever, but Kroenke's not going to spend money in the summer. If he's selling it, it's like you selling a car.
Yeah.
If you know you're going to sell the car, you're not going to put money into it to make it
No,
better.
you're not
just
going
going to
out to buy
sell it
brand
on.
new tires to
No,
sell it. Like,
you're not. So then we're in a situation where we're going to have the bulk of this squad again next season.
Yeah.
The same manager is going to be there. Results.
Danny Ceballos on loan for a third season.
Basically, we'll get him on a free at this stage. We'll keep loaning him so much, but you're looking at a situation where is realistically our results going to change, and then you're kind of in another season gone.
Yeah. I guess in terms of like my opinion on Daniel Ek, I guess, look, the opinion I have is kind of based around what I know. I'm being told he's an Arsenal fan. He's got the money for the club. He's enlisted the help of Invincibles, which I still think is a bit of a PR move. But I think we still got to be cautious, because as much as we want Kroenke out, you don't just want to. This almost, I guess, goes for Arteta as well. You may not be sold on the manager, but you don't just want to remove a guy to stick anybody in, because it could easily end up being the same result. And that could be the same with the owner. Like, this guy, like a new manager, like Arteta, he's going to come in his press conference, he's going to tell you everything you want to know. He's going to tell you everything you want to hear. He's going to tell you, this is my plan, this is what I have, these are the non-negotiables, this is the process. And we're listening and we're getting excited about it. And this Ek guy is telling us, I've been an Arsenal fan for 30 years. I watch all the games on my tablet. I do this, I do that. He's gonna tell us that. He's gonna say everything he needs to say to get the fan base on board and build a bit of trust. So I'm still a bit cautious. At the end of the day, fan or not, you buy a club to make money, and I know you might say, well, he's a fan, he wants the success and that, but at the end of the day, he's there to continue making money. So look, the grass isn't always greener. I'm still 1,000,000% cronky out, but yeah, a bit of caution maybe. What's new isn't always what's best. I just see. Do you know what I guess we quickly talk about the Newcastle game just kind of before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
Again, this is something we spoke about on Cannon Chatter. Again, are you finding it hard to kind of get psyched up for this game? It's essentially a dead rubber. Is the interest kind of gone a little bit for you now with our league games, or are you still buzzing to see us play Newcastle?
Oh, I love. What's better than watching Arsenal and Newcastle in a dead rubber on a Sunday afternoon? You can't beat it. But no, it's meaningless, really. Just chance for players to stake their claim for Thursday night. And look, if someone puts in a good performance, then maybe they have a chance at starting Thursday night. I'd like to see him. Look, I think hopefully he'll change the team up and start Matt Ryan in goals. Look, maybe bring Bellerin and Cedric in, and maybe a chance for Gabriel and David Luiz to play and get them back together, because I think they should play Thursday night, Gabriel and David Luiz. And then look, what's he going to do in midfield? And Lenny probably, and he'll probably play a party maybe. And then I'd like to see Martinelli left wing. I'd play Odegaard number 10 because he went off early and Luke Smith Rowe played the 90 minutes. So I'd like to see Martinelli left, Odegaard 10, Nelson right, and either Nketiah or Balogun up front. Look, do something different. Give Balogun minutes. Give Nketiah minutes. Look, it's neither here nor there at this stage. So give these boys minutes to play. And I don't think if Aubameyang only came on for 5 minutes last night, he's probably not fit. So what's the point even playing him? Look, if you play him for a half an hour at the end, if you need to, if you're behind and you want to chase a goal or whatever, but just completely change the 11, I think, and just put all the eggs in the basket for next Thursday night. Because look, if someone plays well, then it's a chance. Even if they're on the bench, at least they have a bit of form coming off the bench on Thursday night. If you need to kind of stretch it that far, Martinelli might bag a goal. What harm is it giving Nelson minutes? I forgot even Willian. He'll probably start Willian actually. So
I did the exact same. My predicted team, I completely forgot William was even an Arsenal player, which tells you all you
so he'll
need to know
probably
about
start
his
Willian
career.
right. Yeah, basically, yeah. Like the killing thing is, Nelson has kind of got sacrificed for Willian. Unfortunately, look, maybe Nelson is never going to be the player what we thought he'd be in whatever. Look, but at least play him over Willian. But look, he's not really playing Willian anymore either. But look, give the kids a chance. I wouldn't be against playing Miguel Aziz alongside Elneny on
I've seen a lot of
Sunday.
calls for Aziz,
Give
yeah.
him,
But look,
give him
now is the
give
time
him
to
a run.
experiment.
Yeah.
Now is the time to experiment. This is why I'm extra frustrated with how he lined up against Villarreal, because now against Newcastle, the remaining league games, this is the time to mess about with your formation. And yeah, look, again, I know you can make an excuse, and well, Aubameyang's not fit, and Balogun is still untested. Eddie Nketiah he's not doing it for us. Martinelli, whatever. I don't know what the hell's going on, but surely it was a better option to fire a few of them in there and go with a striker than none at all. Like, it's just, yeah. But like,
Four strikers, like when you look at it, so
yeah, it's just.
he played none of them.
Oh,
The only striker that was injured, it was Lacazette.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, it's not as though he didn't have options. He just chose
Oh, he
not
did.
to use them. You
But
know,
then he
he
said
had
in
a
his press conference that there's games where he's had 3 strikers on and we haven't scored. Like it's like, but it's you putting the team out there.
yeah.
So like,
That's
why are
it.
you kind of hitting when if the fans were saying, oh, we needed to play a striker, hitting back at the fans, kind of saying, oh, well, I played 3 strikers as well. He picked the team last night and he makes the decision to play the 3 strikers. So
Yeah,
like, I don't get that side of it. His interview actually was a little bit off-putting today as well. I didn't like some of the stuff he was saying, and I think a lot of
yeah,
people said the same as well. There's again, it would kind of continue to be a little bit stubborn, and some of the stuff he was saying was kind of near. He was taking hits at things and stuff like that as well. Is that's not ever good to see.
yeah. I've kind of sensed that myself. Again, like I said, maybe traits that I kind of overlooked a little bit in the past. I guess I'm looking at things slightly differently now because I a slight shift in mindset. And again, like I said, it's not a like, oh, I'm completely Arteta out, get him out of the job now. But like I said, I'm kind of assessing things differently. And when he's saying something now, I'm kind of analysing it a different way. And I basically, I guess I'm kind of I'm looking at everything now, and I am concerned. Put it that way, I am very very concerned about where the future lies for Arteta, where the future lies for Arsenal under Arteta's management. Even if we pull it out of the bag and we get through against Villarreal, even if we lift that Europa League trophy, don't get me wrong, I will be absolutely ecstatic. But I've still seen enough recently, especially to make me still concerned for the future. Under Arteta, should there be a future. But yeah, I guess just before we wrap it up, do you want to give me a prediction? I know we didn't really spend a lot of time on Newcastle, but to be honest, like there's been a lot going on. There has been a lot to talk about, and look, I'm not overlooking this game at all. It's still a Premier League fixture, but it is difficult. It's difficult because, as you said, it's a bit of a dead rubber. So it's hard to invest too much time. It'll be easier, I guess, to invest more time once the game is done and we're talking about what happened. But definitely, look, Villarreal is the game. 100%. That's the game with the focus and the attention. But do you want to give me a prediction for Newcastle?
Yeah, look, as we said, we didn't spend the whole. You can't really go into it, I suppose, tactically or how Newcastle are going to set up and how we'll set up. Is we're going to be a changed team. They're not going down now. We're not kind of going anywhere. It's just they're on the beach and we're kind of going to be a second string 11 trying to find a bit of form and fitness, I suppose, before the game on Thursday. So no, there's not really too much to go into. Look, we'll probably review it and analyze it. I suppose you can probably do more from that point, but hopefully we'll have a few of the youngsters out there and we might have good performances there to say, look, give them a chance on Thursday. Whatever the perspective might be a little bit different. As far as predictions goes, 2-1 Arsenal, I'd say, purely just to say Arsenal win. I don't see us keeping a clean sheet, regardless really of who's playing in defence. And look,
Yeah.
we've enough going forward to score a goal as well. And I think if we were to go a goal or so ahead as well, I don't think Newcastle are going to push us too hard to kind of equalise as well. It's going to be one of those games. I think they are going to just. I think we'll want to get over the 90 minutes. They'll just want to get past the 90 minutes and move on. I think it's just one of those.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a dead rubber in every sense. I predicted earlier when I was asked, I actually said I predicted like maybe a 1-0 win Newcastle.
I think 2-1 either way, maybe.
I just don't see us being up for it. I don't think no matter who plays, like I said, I don't see enough hunger in this squad for the players, like the fringe players, when they get their opportunity. I don't see enough hunger for them to want to fight their way into the team. Like Martinelli aside, like I said, Martinelli, you're always going to get an effort out of him, but there's enough guys in that team that when they're given a chance, I'm not seeing enough for them to justify them getting their opportunity. So again, if he does go with a bit of a sort of backup side, am I expecting them to be chomping at the bit to show the manager what they can do, put themselves into contention? The likes of Willian, Eddie Nketiah, guys like that. No, I'm not 100% convinced. So and look, partially I'm predicting the Newcastle win because every single time I back Arsenal, we don't get the result. Every time I'm in any way confident, we don't show up. So look, like I was saying, I was on Scott's channel the other night, and I was saying I was putting out on Twitter there. I was almost trying to goad the players on by saying, Partey should never shoot from distance again. Almost so he would prove me wrong, and I'd saying stuff online just so they prove me wrong because they subscribe to the channel, each and every one of them. Like,
of course they do.
But so. Hey, look, hopefully they prove me wrong and we win 4 or 5-0 or something like that.
I like Aslan's comment there, the Willian hat-trick. Look,
could you imagine?
It's been one of those seasons, like, it wouldn't surprise me at this stage. Do you know what I would like as well, and what I don't like about the loan rule is that you can't play against your parent team. I would have loved to seen Willock against
Joe Willock, yeah.
He
would have definitely scored. 100%
possibly, yeah. That would have been a good one too. That would have been an interesting one as well. Now that would have gave me more interest than what I would have had. But look,
we all would have watched that game just to watch Joe Willock.
Basically.
But you know what? As much as I would love to see a Willian hat-trick, I really don't want to see it because then that'll mean he'll 100% be playing against Villarreal. And we know he's not going to show up against Villarreal. So it's probably for the best that doesn't happen. But yeah, look, we will wrap it up there. Thankfully, there hasn't been any more any wake up calls, so we haven't.
I've had a few hairy moments, but other than that.
Yeah, I had one there myself earlier. So yeah, look, big shout out to everybody that was watching. We had some good numbers for this time of night, a little bit earlier on, and really appreciate everyone checking it out, liking the video as always. And yeah, look, thanks for all the comments in the chat box. But yeah, Dave, again, look, as always, cheers for being the wingman here, and sorry for keeping you up all hours.
No, look, I'm glad to come on. I've the game last night out of my system now, so it's worthwhile, and we'll go on again. Look, I know we'll look forward to Thursday and just get Sunday out of the way. Look, again, as we say, we'll probably review it anyway, just out of habit. But other than that, no, look, it's all eyes on Thursday, I suppose, between now and next week as well. So
yeah,
there'll be no work done.
No, definitely not. So yeah, look, lads, we'll leave it there. Again, just before we go, if you haven't liked the video, please do. If you haven't subscribed, we massively appreciate it. And yeah, look, feel free to follow the pair of us on Twitter, and I don't know, you can send us some abuse, I don't know, nice messages, whatever. Actually, no abuse, no online abuse. No. We're against that. You can I don't know, you can send us some pictures of Willian or something like that. That's pretty abusive, I guess. But yeah, we leave it there. So cheers for watching as always.
Take care, guys.
Oh, and come on, you Gunners.